Hey guys, so today we are going to be going through a tier list of all of the plants in the original Plants vs. Zombies. I would do the one for PVZ2, but there's about 500 billion plants in there, and that would take me 8 years to do, and I have not played it in forever, so I don't even know what half this shit does. These I do, so let's just get right into it. We'll go in order, and we'll see how well it matches up with what you guys think. Starting with the blower. The blower is not great. It pretty much only has the two uses, which is to get rid of the fog and the fog levels, and to blow away the Zeppelin zombies. Pretty mid. I would put it in D, but because it is, for those two uses, it's very useful. I will put it in C. I think that's decently fair. Cabbage Pult. Cabbage Pult is interesting. It's right around the same level as a pea shooter. It does shoot a little slower, but it hits a little harder. Other than that, very similar. Obviously, it's the best plant for the roof levels at the beginning, because it's the only one you can use, and he lobs. But I think B tier is pretty fair. I think same thing for pea shooter, honestly. I think they're both very basic, good at what they do, but nothing too crazy kind of plant. Next we have the cactus. Now the cactus is kind of like a pea shooter, does slightly less damage. It has the added ability of being able to pop the balloons for the zeppelins, but that's pretty much it, and it does cost more, so it's basically like a less cost-effective pea shooter. I'm going to put it in C, above blower. It's definitely better than the blower, but he's still not great. Cattail. Cattail is probably one of the best plants in the game. I'm going to put him in S tier. Cattail is so OP. The fact that it's only 225 sun on top of a lily pad, which means total it's 250 for the whole thing. It shoots 2 attacks every time it shoots, and they're homing, and they attack the zombie closest to your home. Makes it insanely OP, and then it also has the ability to pop the zeppelins just like the cactus. But this, if you get enough of these in a pool level, you basically can't lose. They're so good. For the cherry bomb is interesting. The cherry bomb is a very good plant. It's either top of B or, I'll put it in A. The cherry bomb is one of the best insta-kill plants. The fact that it does it in a whole square means you can basically wipe out 3 rows of zombies all at the same time if you place it correctly, which makes it very useful, and the fact that it can one-shot certain zombies that take a lot more damage, like the Zomboni, makes it super good as well. The Chomper, I know a lot of people love this plant, but he's kind of mid. He has a fast recharge for planting him, but the fact that he can only eat 1 zombie and then he has to chew for like 5 minutes makes him not as useful as people think he is. He's still decent, but he's not great. The Cob Cannon. The Cob Cannon is interesting. Very expensive plant, very, very cost heavy. Although it is one of the highest damaging plants, and for late game survival, it is the best plant for that. You need 2 of the kernel pults placed right next to each other in order to use him, but overall he's a very effective plant, albeit not very cost effective. Coffee Bean. I hate Coffee Bean. I know a lot of people kind of like him. I despise him. He's okay in survival when you want to use the gloom shrooms, since most strategies use gloom shroom, pumpkin, and garlic, but he's terrible. I mean, besides that, there's no reason to ever use him, because it's just 75 extra sun on top of what you already have to pay for the mushroom to wake them up, and none of the mushrooms are that effective to where it's worth it. The only thing I'd ever use it for is a doom shroom. If you're like really in trouble, you can use a doom shroom and a coffee bean, and that basically wipes the board, but he's pretty much useless. He's not very good at all. Now on the other side of this, Doom Shroom. He is amazing. I love Doom Shroom so much. He is an instant board wipe if you place him in the middle. Yes, he creates a crater, and you can't plant on that for a short period of time, but that doesn't really matter because he's just so strong. It's insane. He is an incredibly good plant. The potted plant is kind of hard to rank. He doesn't really do, it's kind of like the lily pad in the sense that he doesn't really do anything. They're just kind of a support thing, like you need him to play on the roof levels because you can't plant on the roof. I would put him slightly below. You know, I'll put him both in C, but I'll put lily pad above, because at least in the lily pad levels, you don't need it. It's very helpful. You don't need it. You need him. If you don't have the potted plant, you cannot play the roof levels. You will most likely lose, except for maybe the beginning few where you have like 5 rows of potted plants already. But when you get to the ones where you only start with like 3, it becomes very difficult without him. Fume Shroom. Fume Shroom is a great plant, and he's helped a lot by the Gloom Shroom. The Gloom Shroom, I would put either bottom of S or top of A. We'll go top of A just to keep him in the same level. The Gloom Shroom just elevates the Fume Shroom to the next level. He's incredibly good for survival levels. And the Fume Shroom by itself is very good. He can hit area zombies. He does a decent chunk of damage. And he's pretty cost effective, being only 75 sun. For night levels, that's a decent amount, but once you have enough sun shrooms, he's really quite cheap, honestly, for how good he is. Garlic. Garlic, I kind of like him. He's okay. He's really good for survival when paired with the Gloom Shroom. You know, you make him switch lanes and the Gloom Shrooms can just shred everything. But on his own, in pretty much every other circumstance, he's kind of mid. I'd put him above Blover because he has more use than Blover, but he's just not as effective. Gatling P is very good. There's just nothing to say about that. He is an extension of the Repeater, and he's just better. He's pretty expensive. I believe it's 250 sun for him, plus 200 on top of that for the Repeater, so it's 450 for one Gatling P. But the fact that he can shoot 4 Ps and only take up 1 spot makes him very good, especially for survival. Incredibly good plant. Now, the coin, I don't know. He is probably the worst special plant. Out of all of the special ones you can buy from Crazy Dave, this one is by far the worst. It takes away the ability of the regular Magnet Shroom, which allows you to take away metal items, and converts it into picking up coins, which is basically useless because coins take forever to disappear, and if you really can't click them, I think you have other problems. He's just terrible. Gravedigger is pretty good, kind of like the Blover, very niche, literally can only be used for the one thing. I put him slightly below Blover just because he literally can only do the one thing. You can only put him on graves and that's all he does. The Blover at least has 2 uses, but not much else to say about him. He's kind of just mid. He's okay. The Hypno Shroom, I think, is pretty mid tier. He's good at dealing with higher health zombies like the football zombie. Very good at dealing with that. But it kind of limits his use because you can't use him like the Cherry Bomb. You can't use him for groups of enemies. And unlike the Doom Shroom, he doesn't wipe out anything. He can only deal with one thing. And if you get lucky and get the strong zombie, he can go back and eat more. But that only happens if there are more behind him. So pretty mid-use, but he's very good in certain situations. Now the Ice Shroom, I'd put him top of B. I really like the Ice Shroom. He's very versatile. He can freeze everything, gives you a lot of time to kind of collect your bearings and figure out what you need to do. Or if you need to place him so you can kind of save up some more sun for one of your insta-kills like a Doom Shroom or a Cherry Bomb or something, he's very good. The Imitator, he is pretty decent. I mean, it's hard to rank him because he can technically be anything. He's just a carbon copy of any plant you want. I'm going to put him literally right in the middle. He's going to be right in the middle, top of B. He's everything. He's all the bad and all the good. Overall, he's not bad. It's nice to be able to bring 2 plants, depending on what it is, especially if you bring like 2 insta-kills with slow recharge. It gives you 2 shots, so it's a lot better with the Imitator. Now, the Jalapeno, I don't like as much as the Cherry Bomb. I know a lot of people love the Jalapeno. He's very good. He clears the whole row, which can be really good. But a lot of the times you don't end up with one row that has a ton of zombies and not a lot in anything else, which is why I think the Cherry Bomb is better, because he can clear 3 rows, at least 3 tiles wide. He's okay. The Jalapeно's alright. Not anything too bad, but pretty good. Colonel Polt, he's okay. I mean, he's not anything too crazy. I think he is pretty good. The problem is with him is he doesn't do a lot of damage, but his butter can come in really handy. You know what? I'm gonna put him in A. I think he's better than the cabbage pult because he doesn't do a lot of damage, but his butter can really save you, especially if you get lucky. And the more kernel pult you have, the more chance you have to get butter, which means less movement from the zombies. So overall, I think he's pretty good. The magnet shroom is a pretty good plant. He takes away metal items, which means you don't need as much firepower. So basically, if you have magnet shroom, you have the ability to kind of not need as much firepower. So I think he's a very good supportive plant. Marigold is basically garbage. I mean, it's better than this because at least it makes money, but not great just because it doesn't really do anything. All it does is make you money, and the money is not a lot, so it's kind of pointless unless you're really, really farming for money and you're like in a survival or something, but not great. Melon Pult, on the other hand, complete opposite, absolute S tier. Melon Pult is probably, besides his counterpart, we'll just throw him up there right now, Winter Pult, these guys are the best plants in the game. They do incredibly high damage, not super expensive, they're only 300 each. Huge splash damage, really good damage in general. Winter Pult just adds on to it and adds the freeze effect. So not only do you have really good damage, splash damage, and freeze, but he also has really fast recharge and a decently medium sun cost. Obviously it's pretty high, but like if you compare him to the 3-peater, which is 325 sun, he's only well, technically he's 500 because it's 300 for the melon and 200 for the Winter Pult. So 500 for one of these. But the Melon Pult is just incredibly good. He's great for dealing with area, tough zombies. I mean, he's just an all-around perfect plant. He is the epitome of good. And again, going back to the other end, Plantern is awful. Just not good. I mean, all it does is get rid of fog. It's terrible. It's not good. I think Coffee Bean is a little more useful, but is not good a plant. Potato Mine, I would put in A tier. I think he's probably worse. I put him right there. I think he's worse than these insta-kills, but he's very useful for early game. You know, only 25 sun you can place him, and it'll get rid of whatever zombie, which allows you to build up a really good defense, get lots of sun production going and all of that. So pretty good plant. Nothing too crazy, nothing super special, but very good overall. Puffshroom also, same thing. He's one of the best ones. 0 sun cost, decent damage output. You can spam them like crazy. They survive pretty well. If you get enough of them, they can kind of just take on anything. It's a very good plant. The best one for nighttime levels. You should always have him in your loadout for any nighttime level. He's incredible. Pumpkin is definitely S tier. It's basically a walnut that doesn't take up another space, which is huge, and it actively protects your plants, which is very good. So absolutely recommend using the pumpkin for sure. Yeah. Next we have the repeater. The repeater is pretty good. I would put it in a, I think it's less than the kernel cob, but overall it's very good. It's just an upgrade of the pea shooter. It's 100 sun for an extra pea, so it's basically just 2 pea shooters in one spot. Quick recharge, good damage. I mean, it's just good. Each one of these is just an upgrade of each one. All are very good, and it just goes up from there. Scaredy Shroom, I personally like. He's a good, cheap, long-range attacker. His drawback comes from the fact that he hides if a zombie gets too close, which is very annoying. But overall, it's not the end of the world. He still does good damage for a cheap cost, so I personally really like him. But objectively, he's not very good. Definitely not as good as like a pea shooter or a cabbage bolt, but pretty decent, especially for the night levels. Now, Sea Shroom. I don't know why he exists. He's not good. He is a puff shroom, but for the water, except he loses all the aspects of the puff shroom in the fact that he's not spammable. It takes forever for him to recharge, and he kind of just takes up a space and wastes it. Because for the water defense, if you get a bucket head or a cone head or whatever, you have nothing to stop it. I do not like the Sea Shroom. I think he sucks. He's not good. He's just a worse and by worse I mean much worse version of the Puffshroom. The Puffshroom is way better. You could play a lily pad and a Puffshroom and you'd be better off than this stupid thing. So, yeah. Snow Pea. Snow Pea is very good. Snow Pea is just a better pea shooter. Obviously it costs more sun, it's 175. But for that trade-off, you get the slow effect, which is very, very helpful in this game, where you have to kind of save up as much time as possible to be able to build a good defense. Yeah, I think better than the Kernel Pult, most likely. Just because the freeze effect is always there. His is kind of randomized. Now, Spike Rock. Let's do Spikeweed first. Spikeweed is pretty mid. It's 100 sun, so it's not super expensive, but it's not the most effective plant. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. It's really good when paired up with a wall, like Tall Nut or Walnut, but he by himself doesn't do a whole lot. Still very good, but his upgrade, Spike Rock, is much better. Spike Rock is definitely an A-tier plant. He's just a Spikeweed that does more damage, has more health. He's just a lot better. And like with Spikeweed, he can pop the tires of Zambonis, which makes him pretty useful. The Spike Rock can pop 3 Zamboni tires and can also take 3 hits from our Gargantuar, which is very helpful on defense because no other plant can do that. He is the only one, which makes him very good for Gargantuar defense. Next, we have the Split Pea. Split Pea is okay. He's 125 sun for a pea shooter that has a repeater on the back of its head that can shoot backwards. Most cases, the repeater is basically useless and it's just a 125 sun pea shooter. But in the fog levels, when there's the digger, this is obviously required. You have to have him or that digger will just eat your entire backline. And obviously you don't want that. So he's pretty good. He's obviously outclassed by the pea shooter just in general for most use. But in that one specific scenario, he's not bad. He's not terrible. I think he's worse than Lily Pad just because Lily Pad is more useful in every scenario. He can only be used in a couple of levels. So, yeah. The Squash. Squash, S tier. Immediate S tier. Squash is a fantastic plant. He can squash groups of zombies. So like if you have a horde that is eating your Tall Nut or your Walnut or whatever, you just place a Squash and it's all gone for 50 sun. Very good. The same can obviously be accomplished with these, but he has a quicker recharge time. And then he does also very high damage to Gargantuars and everything strong. So he's basically a 50 sun insta-kill that doesn't need to arm like the Potato Mine and does area damage, which is fantastic. So he is a very, very good plant. Starfruit. A lot of people hate on Starfruit because they're like, oh, well, he doesn't shoot straight or it's hard to line him up with things. But if you get enough of them, they're quite good. The Starfruit is objectively better than the pea shooter because it can shoot straight. One of the shots goes directly across the screen, but he can also hit other things in other lanes. So if you line up lots of Starfruits, your whole screen, it's kind of like a 3-feeder, you know, but a little more random. Sunshroom. I love Sunshroom. I think he's great. But if I'm being objective, he's probably middle of B tier. He's not anything too crazy. He's a 25 sun producer that at the beginning produces 15 sun, but when he grows, he produces 25 just like a sunflower. So he's not bad, not good. All around, he's an okay plant. Okay, next we have the Sunflower. Sunflower is a very good plant. Objectively, it's one of the first plants you get. A good sun producer, has good recharge. There's not much to say about it. It's just it's the face of the game. You know, the sunflower is your bread and butter. It's your life force. You need a sunflower to survive. And so I think it's probably top of A tier, maybe below the Puffshroom, but very close to the top of A tier. Very good plant. Tall Nut, S tier. Tall Nut is just a better version of a walnut. It's slightly more expensive, but it can block the Zeppelin zombies, it can block the Pogo zombies, the Pole Vaulters, the Dolphins. I mean, he is just the end-all be-all super walnut, pretty much. He's very good. I think he's slightly better than Pumpkin, just because he does all that extra stuff. They're very similar. This guy saves space, but he does extra things, so it's kind of hard to pick which one goes above, but they're both very good. Tangle Kelp. Tangle Kelp is okay. Pretty mid plant, not too bad, not too good, nothing crazy about him. He does his job. He's an insta-kill for 25 stun, long recharge, but only in the water. Pretty much only used against the dolphins and or the diver zombies. Both of them are pretty annoying, but pretty much anything else is kind of pointless to use him on. But he's not bad. Three-peater. I love the three-peater. For the pool levels and the night pool levels, he is fantastic. He's a little expensive for the night pool levels, so less used. But for the pool levels especially, I mean, you just fill row after row with him, and you're pretty much unstoppable. He's very strong on those levels. Less strong when there's 5 rows, because obviously it means you can use less of them, and it's harder to get them to all coordinate. But overall, he's not that bad. Torchwood. I love Torchwood. Torchwood is probably one of my favorites, just because he elevates some of the strongest plants, like the Gatling Pea, to a whole nother level. He takes this very good plant and makes him incredibly good, and it's just these two are one of the best combos in the game, besides the Winter Melon and Gloom Shroom. These two are such a good combo. Fantastic plants, fantastic all around. Twin Sunflower. I like Twin Sunflower, but it's a little too expensive and a little too slow for my liking. You know, if you're worried about not having enough sun for a level, or you know that a level needs a lot of sun, he's very good. But he's not too good in a general sense, because the recharge is pretty low. It's 125 to produce 50 sun every time instead of 25. And so it's one of those investments, like, you have to have a long level for it to be worth it. But if you do have a long level, he's pretty good. Now the Umbrella Leaf, I don't care for all that much. It's useful pretty much only on the roof levels with the catapult guys, because obviously it completely defends against them. But that's its only use. I mean, other than that, it's completely worthless. It doesn't do anything. I mean, there's a lot of those in here that have their one use and don't do anything else. I would say I prefer this over Gravedigger, just because you can beat the Gravedigger levels without, or the Grave levels without a Gravedigger. It's really hard to beat the Umbrella levels without this guy, because those guys will just shred your backline and destroy all your sun production. It's just a nightmare. And last but not least, we have the Walnut. Walnut is definitely an A-tier plant. He's the wall, he's the first blocking plant you get, he's solid, he's defensive. 50 sun, slow recharge, but that's okay because you don't need a lot of them, or at least you shouldn't. And if you pair him with Tall Nut or with Pumpkin, you just have an impenetrable wall, and then even if you don't have good firepower, those zombies ain't making it through. Alright, I think that's the finished tier list. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys think anything different, or maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe you think Sunflower's F tier, and give me your reason why. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!